Yo, what's up, guys? I'm here on Showdown, and what I'll be doing today is team building with Lycanroc. Lycanroc's actually something I've never used because it's bad. There's very little reason to use this over something like Terrakion. That's literally the same coverage, better typing, being able to resist dark in a tier where things like Urshifu Mandibuzz are ever so common, and overall superior stats. But the one thing that separates Lycanroc from Terrakion is access to strong priority in Lycanroc, backed up by tough claws. It's actually pretty strong. It's around base 52 power. So just to give you guys an idea of how strong it is, let's go through the tier real quick. So we have Alakazam has a chance to get O-Code. Azumarill, after belly drums, get a bit of chip, bring in Lycanroc, knock that out. Cinderace, O-Code. Dragapult takes around 50%. Zero R as well, takes around 50%. And other random things like Gara can actually get O-Code, which is crazy considering Gara is not frail. Like Gara is bulky, so being able to O-Code that is nice. And just having that priority versus other things like Volk as well is good. Whereas Terrakion will have to run Choice Scarf just to beat some of the things I named. But yeah, overall, what is Lycanroc's role? Well, it's an offense killer. It very easily picks up O-Codes. Versus offensive style of teams, your Cinderaces, Bisharps, Excadrills, Urshifus, Hydreigons, Magnezones, all of those get smacked by Lycanroc. So yeah, his role is, destroy offense, and it's a revenge killer. It is not a sweeper. It is not going to break like things like Hippowdon, Slowbro. It is not meant to do that. I see people use like Pokemon like these wrong all the time. This reminds me of like Toxtricity. Like back in the early days of Sword Shield, people would use Shift Gear Toxtricity, which is cool, but it's not the best set. Like it's not going to be consistent. It's meant to like break balance and stuff like that. Whereas with Lycanroc, it's meant to beat offense because it has these just enough power and speed to do so, along with the priority. Like again, it's not a sweeper. You're not going to be SD sweeping. It just doesn't, it's not that type of Pokemon. It's just solid versus offense, and that's it. So, I had to ask myself, what does Lycanroc struggle versus? Well, it's going to struggle versus bulkier style of teams. Your Hippowdons, your Slowbros, Toxapex, Komo-o, Toxapex, Tangrowth, all these grounded things. If you noticed, all of those are grounded. Hippowdon, Como, Slowbro, Toxapex. So, what I wanted to do is pair Lycanroc with Spikes. Spikes helps you a bit with these. They'll be switching in not only on a Stone Edge, but a Spike as well, which meaning, you do like a net 50-40% every time versus things like Slowbro, Toxapex. So yeah, we got Skarm. Actually, it's pretty nice for Lycanroc, being able to switch into things like Excadrill, Rillaboom. Is good. Let me see. Is there a few other things? I think that's it. It's mainly like Excadrill, Rillaboom, some strong fighting types like Como, Scizors, things like that just destroy Lycanroc. So yes, Skarm just has good synergy in that regard. As far as like the sets, I'm just gonna run this for now. Whirlwind. Really the set blank, the last slot. I don't know, like once the team's done, I don't know if I want Body Press, Brave Bird. Like we'll just have to see. You can't determine what the last set, not the last move would be of the team being completed. So yeah, Lycanroc Spikes, very solid. Like I said, you want those Spikes versus those grounded Mons. The switching to Lycanroc, like I said, Hippowdon, Slowbro, Toxapex. So as far as the next member, so like I said, we're gonna look at what we're week 2 right now. Things like Alakazam is easily Blast, Skarmory, because I'm not Spadef. So yeah, Focus Blast does a ton. Dragapult, Zero R, Kingdra, all these like things, electrics, waters. So it's going into the tier. There's a Mungus, but that loses to Alakazam. So yeah, we're gonna keep scrolling through. Ferrothorn, but I already used that. Rillaboom, not that great. Doesn't have reliable recovery. Drain Punch is not reliable. Then I came across Tangrowth. Now, Tangrowth is like one of my old favorites. back in RS, the Assault Vest. Being able to switch into things like Alakazam, Dragapults, Kingdra, Zero Aura, even Morgana, some of the time. Like if they like Calm Mind or like Iron Defense, it's gonna be difficult, but you can threaten that with Earthquake. And yeah, this is a separate rocking Assault Vest Tangrowth. Those are versus Special Dragapult. Though physical variants are becoming a lot more common, so you know Skarmory does do well versus that. But Tangrowth can still tank hits because it's still bulky on the physical side. So yeah, we got AV Tangrowth that helps versus things like Kingdra and Rain. Always gotta have a check for that. You're gonna run 4 speed actually, so you guarantee be able to Tangrowth. But yeah, it's just solid, you know, versus Kingdra, Zero Aura, Special Dragapult, Alakazam. I mean, yeah, so Tangrowth is solid, provides a water and electric resist, which is important. And yeah, so far, we have our defensive combo here, Skarm Tangrowth. So obviously still weak to a couple things. Mainly Cinderace just blows away Skarm and Tangrowth. And so again, want to look for something to deal with that. So Zumarill, but like if it's like in the defensive set, I don't really like that set too much. Has no recovery, which I don't really like. Let's keep scrolling through. And a Hippowdon. Boy, Hippowdon. I know I used this in my last video, but like there's just very little options to deal with Cinderace outside of this and like Slowbro. Just very little. And it's just good. Like Hippowdon is just solid. And if it fits the team, I'm gonna use it. Like I'm not gonna just not use it because I used it in my last video. But yeah, Hippowdon is nice. There's nice synergy with Lycanroc actually. Being able to provide sand allows Lycanroc to switch into things like Volcarona much easier. So you don't take like 50% from a Psychic on the switch. Things like Rotom Heat. What else? You can actually take a hit from like Specs Dragapult. Not a Draco, but like a Shadow Ball under Sand or Lycanroc, which is cool. And Clef can actually switch into that. Moonblast would normally do like 50%, but with Sand up, only gonna do around 30. So that's pretty cool. I really like the Sand plus Lycanroc combination. Yeah, Hippowdon's just solid. Like versus other things, bars outside of Cinderace, being Bisharps and Excadrill. Because I'm probably not gonna run Body Press Skarm, as I do have Hippowdon. Yeah, it's just good. Like Hippowdon's just good. Marowak, just a lot of things. Urshifu. So yeah, Hippowdon is there. Hippowdon is great. So yeah, next member. Defensively, we have checks to pretty much everything we need. At this point, though, like we struggle to break things. So, for example, Clef plus Corviknight cores. Don't have much for those. Cinderace is like the first thing I thought of to break those because Alakazam relies on boosting to beat Corviknight, and it can't beat Clef without boosting either. And Azumarill, again, same thing. You have to beat Belly Drum, which is just not reliable because you don't actually force out Corviknight. They can just stay in attack. Yeah, so Cinderace, fire types, obviously good versus Clef and Corviknight. Being a fairy resist. And Rotom Heat was an option as well, but I really wanted to try out Cinderace because like I haven't used it like in a minute. Especially the Libero one. Last time I used it was like an older meta where it was like Blaze. So yeah, so we're gonna rock bulk up Cinderace actually, and we're gonna rock a bit of a cool tech. We're gonna have Gunk Shot on this one. Again for Clef, Primarina as well, because with the way the team looks right now, it could be weak to Primarina. Though I have Tangrowth, if it gets like 2 Calm Minds up, Giga not breaking the sub. So yeah, I definitely think I want to have Gunk Shot. It's also just good versus Azu too, so actually hits quite a few things. And Rotom Heat, Slowbro, it like completely merch Rotom Heat, especially with the nature I'm running is Adamant. When I look through the tier, like not much reason like to use Jolly because Cinderace is like in a weird speed tier where like still have speed, things like Hawlucha will get outsped by like Alakazam, Dragapult, Zero Aura, and like the next like lowest speed tier is like base 100, as you can see. Like Volcarona, Mew, around anything around base 100. The Volcarona, Mew, Hydreigon, and you still outspeed even with Adamant. And having that extra power is just dope. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to try out. Adamant bulk up. Cinderace also, provides like further pressure versus things like Slowbro, Tangrowth, Toxapex, which are again Lycanroc switch-ins. And it's just very solid, just in general. Very good breaker versus Clef Corviknight. And yeah, that's for the last member. Need a Dark Resist. Like this is pretty much mandatory with things like Urshifu around. Even with Hippowdon, you're gonna still be 2 KO'd by like Banded, Wicked Blow. So definitely need a Dark Resist. Zoomerl, the problem I have with it again is slower, so I'm pretty sure it gets 2 KO'd. And if they have Poison Jab, like so like it's not even that reliable. There's Clef, which I don't want to add more defensive stuff. It's gonna make the team boring. It's too like it's not gonna have enough offensive pressure if I use something like Clefable. So definitely want to avoid that. Hydreigon. Now Hydreigon is solid. So also provides a Ghost Resist, but the other important part is U-turn. I'm gonna be running Scarf Hydreigon in this one just to have like an extra backup check for Dragapult that gets out of hand. Mostly for special variants. Physical variants are very easy to deal with between Hippowdon and Skarmory. We got Hydreigon. This is solid. Let me see. Versus things like Alakazam as well, just backup check. Like really, Hydreigon's main purpose is to be backup check to things like Alakazam and Dragapult, like faster stuff. What else? Yeah, like those are the main few things. Yeah, Urshifu, Scarf Urshifu. Being able to get rid of that for things like Cinderace, Lycanroc is just good. And yeah, Scarf Hydreigon. Now, if you're looking at it, like I really like the team. Like it's solid, but there's no hazard control, which I just opted not to use. You could use Scarf Hydreigon with Defog, but I really don't. I don't think Hydreigon's a good defogger, especially with Scarf. I don't like Scarf defoggers. I mean, you could if you want. You could take a Flamethrower, but then you get walled by things like Magearna, which I don't like. Because that thing is like a big threat. You definitely want to be able to hit that, and you need your other moves. So it's really like hard to make space for defog. And on Skarm, I'm probably not going to be running a defog when I'm on Taunt, just to be able to, not be passive versus things like Corviknight, Mandibuzz, Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn thinks they're safe, going for spikes, you hit them with a taunt. Now all of a sudden they're forced to switch and you have all the momentum. I actually really like Taunt Skarm. Chansey, Mungus trying to spore. Hippowdons. Yeah, it's just good. Like, preventing defogs. Being able to take on like Rocky Helmet Tangrowth. Because, there's no HP fire. So, Taunt's nice. Taunt's nice for us. Toxapex, Taunt is good. I really like Taunt. You could ride Brave Bird if you want for Hawlucha, but you could probably outplay that. Don't feel the need for Body Press because that would be mostly for Excadrill Bisharp, which I have a whole Hippowdon for, so don't need that. Yeah, it's solid. Got some cool attacks like Adamant Cinderace with the Gunk Shot. And yeah, Scarf Hydreigon is nice because it just provides, free switches for things like Lycanroc. Lycanroc, wants to come in on things like Mandibuzz, Chansey, Hydreigon base those in. Being able to U-turn on things like Magearna into Cinderace is just good. So yeah, that's the team. Is there anything else I'm missing as far as this one? Like, defog. Like I said, with defog, like it's just optional. Like I just opted not to run it because you could force defogs easily with this team. Between the offensive pressure of Lycanroc, Cinderace, Hydreigon, then putting up spikes and rocks. Your opponent's most of the time going to be forced to defog unless they're using offense. Obviously they're not going to have defog. But yeah, you could, if you want, like I said, over a Flamethrower and Hydreigon, or over like Whirlwind or Taunt or something on Skarm, or even Brave Bird for Hawlucha. But yeah, it's opted not to run defog because just don't feel the need. It's not like this team is like weak to hazards or something. Yeah, like you have Boots, Cinderace, Skarm, and Hydreigon, which are immune to spikes. So yeah, I made oh wait, hold on. Let me see. Lycanroc's last slot. I'm actually just gonna opt for Psychic Fangs, just to hit things like Toxic Eggs, Komo, and what else? Toxic Eggs, Komo. Let me look through. Among Us, smash that up. Yeah. Yeah, Psychic Fangs is just good. Actually does a ton to Toxic Eggs, like I think like 60%, even to Fizz Def, so that's a lot. Yeah, don't really feel the need for Crunch, because like, look at the team, look at Slowbro, like Tangrowth, Hydreigon just beat Slowbro, Toxic on Hippowdon. Even Cinderace can pressure Slowbro with spikes up, just houses up in general. And yeah, so I actually made 2 versions. This one is a bit more offensive with Klefki. Now the great part about Klefki is it's good versus things like Alakazam, Dragapult, unlike Skarm. You know, because this Iris Bidef, T-Wave, things like that. And we have Como in this one. Same, pretty much serve the same purpose as Hydreigon, being able to check Rotom Heat, because I'd otherwise be weak to that, like very weak to that, like Nasty Plot. I have Lycanroc, but that's not reliable. Yeah, Klingler's Como, I think is very underrated right now, with things like Slowbro, Tangrowth, Skarm, and Hippowdon being like people's like primary walls. Things like Como, but if your Klingers, you just destroy those, and you just blow all those back for Lycanroc. It really opens up Lycanroc and Cinderace. And on this version, I'm rocking Sucker Cinderace because I don't have the Scarf Hydreigon, and yeah, just makes up for not having that. Same sets on Tangrowth and Hippowdon. Just on Hippowdon on this version, I have Whirlwind, as I have Toxic Klefki, so makes sense to just put Whirlwind on this version. And same coverage with Lycanroc on this one, just Psychic Fangs, Crunch. Don't really feel the need. With Slowbro, again, I have Tangrowth, Toxic, Como just blows it away. So yeah. So I was like Como set. I really wanted to run Close Combat for like Chansey, but it's probably really unnecessary because I have Lycanroc and Cinderace to break that. You can knock it off, just things like that. Yeah. Poison Jab is like a bit more like niche, like there's things like Azumarill. It's really the only thing you could beat for, but again, you could work your way around that between spikes, Rocky Helmet, things like that. Great part about Klefki as well is just being a dark resist, so I didn't have to worry about that like during the ending parts of the team. Because in the last one I had Hydreigon, but this one was able to start with Klefki. Though Klefki doesn't come with his downsides. Is worse versus things like Toxic Excadrill, which they can easily go for versus things like Hippowdon, Tangrowth, because those are like the primary switch-ins. Whereas with Skarm, you could easily switch in the drill, like always. Yeah, Klefki, I say like it's a bit worse versus a few things, but it's cool. Being able to deal well with dragon types like Dragapult, Alakazam, being able to force that out with the third T-Wave, and yeah, you can play around with Klefki's set. You might want something else over Toxic. Fairy Lock is something I used to use back in RS. There's a Fairy Lock, Heal Block, whatever. Just play around with the teams, see which version you like best. Man, I hope there's nothing I'm not missing, because I really hate when I do that. Let me see. Oh yeah, Psychic Fangs on Lycanroc also hits Urshifu, the water form. I think it Okos that, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And I'm just making sure, because I don't want to leave you guys, without like all my thoughts at once. Yeah, I think that's it. What else does Klefki do versus? Yeah, Klefki is just good. I think it has potential. Just T-Wave is solid. And, yeah. On the other version, you could use Shed Shell Skarm, but I don't really like that too much. It's only for one thing. And, if they're trading their Mana Zone for you to get a multiple spikes, that's fine. You can still Whirlwinds on him. Though if that does become more common, you could just run Shed Shell. And yeah. Oh, as far as like Toxapex spreads, like nowadays they run Spadef for like Volk and Magearna, so Generates even becomes better because Zen has a chance to just kill. The calcs and stuff gonna be in the comments, just so you guys can look at that. As far as the differences between Adamant and Jolly, you can do the calcs on that. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this one, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the like, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.